Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's council meeting. I'd like to welcome members of council, members of staff, those joining us in the gallery this evening, including our members of our media, and those joining us virtually. We will begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathering on the land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples since time immemorial. We would like to recognize that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and the land on which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. Specifically, we acknowledge the neighboring community of Mishpahton First Nation, for whom we have great respect. We also recognize the contributions of all Indigenous people, including the Métis, in shaping and strengthening the community in the province of Ontario. Thank you, and Miigwech. We'll now start with our Committee of Adjustment meeting agenda. I'd like to ask for an approval of the agenda. Item 2.1, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, second by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 3, there are no announcements.
I have an announcement, Mayor.
On this, during this meeting, or would you like to make it during the Committee of the Whole meeting?
Committee of the Whole.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I'll now move on to item number 4, declaration of pecuniary interest. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item number 5, approval of minutes. 5.1, Committee of Adjustment meeting Tuesday, January 21st, 2026.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman, second by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the following minutes of the Municipality of Wawa Committee of Adjustment Committee be adopted as presented. Minutes of a Committee of Adjustment meeting held on Tuesday, January 21st, 2026, as contained on pages 1 to 3, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, new business. 6.1, approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, second by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the Municipality of Wawa Committee of Adjustment does hereby approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer with respect to the notification of the following applicant. Application for consent, sever land, B1-26, part of location EQ 123, part parcel 276, plan IR 14284, property located along St. Falls Road in Landrum Geographic Township, now in the Municipality of Wawa. The purpose and effect of the minor variance application is to sever a portion of the subject land identified as Plan IR 14284 to create an area for a long-term lease agreement exceeding 21 years for a tourism project.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Item 6.2, approve application B1-26.
Excuse me, Mayor, it looks like there was a numbering error, so we're at 6.2 with the application in the staff report and public comment section.
Okay, thank you very much for the correction. So 6.2, application for minor variance, A2-26. And so I'm looking for public comment.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We've received no public comments for or against the application. And to summarize the staff report, the consent was submitted on behalf of the Ontario Centre for Archaeological Research and Education on behalf of the current owner, Level Plains Enterprises, as represented by Trevor Lang. The subject property is behind the Wild Blueberry Farm and is for a long-term lease. So under the Planning Act, when any lease is longer than 21 years, an applicant must come to the Committee of Adjustment through Council for a consent agreement. It will be for the conservation of a cultural tourism project, and the applicant intends to leave the land in its natural state. The proposed severed parcel will be approximately a half an acre with frontage of 109 feet and depth of about 700 feet. That 100 feet does front what's known as Scenic High Falls Road. A registered plan was done. Under the Planning Act and other land use documents we have to consider, including the provincial policy statements. The property zoned rural, so this does fit in a conservation use definition. which would be permitted, and that means basically an area of land that's left in its natural state used to preserve, protect, or improve components of the natural heritage system, may include hiking trails, structures, natural interpretation centers, and public information centers. So it does fit within the municipal council planning policies and bylaws. The only note of interest from staff for council's consideration is that the subject road would have a driveway access right on Scenic High Falls Road, which is a seasonally maintained road. Limited maintenance is provided on the gravel access road to a set standard requiring minimal graveling, minimal grading, and ditching sufficient to permit vehicles to use that road just for the season, either to access the Blueberry Fields or Scenic High Falls. So in the winter, there is absolutely no municipal services provided, and the use of these roads are at users' risk. It's not plowed, there's no maintenance between May and October, and this also restricts any emergency services from accessing the area during the winter season, particularly when there's snow on the road. So as a result, anyone who wants to provide winter maintenance on the seasonal road must make written application to the corporation, and then if approved, enter into an agreement with the municipality, understanding that they assume all risk for winter maintenance and any liability. So the staff is recommending that the owner leasee enter into municipal road access agreement that is a binding agreement setting out that the owner, the leasee, understands that this is not a road that's maintained year-round, that the municipality is released from liability and responsibility for maintenance over the winter months. Again, no comments have been received, and other recommendations from the staff are that the application should be approved, but that there be conditions that, number one, the survey plan be deposited with our chief building official. Number two, that the land severed, although it has a driveway entrance, that the owner understand that between October 15th and May 15th, they acknowledge that there's no winter maintenance and enter into a binding agreement. And further, that they also acknowledge in that agreement that there's no emergency services guaranteed between that period, October 15th to May 15th in the winter months, and that the land be severed will not be provided any municipal sewer or water services from the municipality unless the full cost is borne by the owner leasee in the future. So the conditions opposed have to be met within 2 years, or the the severance consent is considered not approved. So they'll have 2 years to meet those conditions. And then a map of the property and a copy of the survey document was attached for council's information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maureen. I note that there are representatives from the Ontario Centre for Archaeological Research and Education here. Ryan, do you have any comments or questions that you'd like to make at this time?
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship. I'd just like to confirm that the intended use is seasonal, so at this time we are not seeking to apply for any additional access or agreements for the continued operation or maintenance of Scenic High Falls Road.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Rowe, would you like to make any comments, or do you have any questions?
No, I guess what you're reading there, Maury, you'll be submitting to Ryan or myself, and we can give Trevor a copy as well too.
Absolutely, Mayor. If council approves the application, you will get a copy of the notice of decision. There is an appeal period, so under the Planning Act, there's 20-day appeal period that anyone is pretty restrictive now, but some people may make an appeal of council's decision, but you will receive everything. I'll make sure you're both copied, as well as the owner, on the conditions, the appeal period, when it expires, and next steps.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Questions? Thank you very much, Ryan. Questions, comments from council? Councillor Hoffman? Councillor Hatfield? Councillor Cannon?
I have no problem with this.
Wonderful. We are always very excited and to support new tourism projects in Wawa. And hearing no objections, I think I think I can fully speak on council that we are very excited about this project. So we can move on now to 6.3 to approve the application B1-26.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the application for consent to sever for a long-term lease exceeding 21 years by the Ontario Centre for Archaeological Research and Education on part of location EQ 123, part parcel 276, Plan IR 14284, property located along St. High Falls Road in Lendon Geographic Township, now in the municipality of Wawa, be approved with the following conditions. Number one, that the owner applicant provide the secretary treasurer with a legal description acceptable to the registrar of the subject property, together with a copy of the deposit reference plan for use in the issuance of the consent certificate, and to accurately describe the severed parcel within 1 year from the date of the decision of the committee, and that the land to be severed will have a driveway entrance located on a seasonally maintained gravel road. No maintenance is provided on the access road, Scenic High Falls Road, during the period between October 15th to May 15th, and it is closed to public access during this time. The owner or leasor must acknowledge this and enter into a municipal road access agreement, being a binding agreement acknowledging that the road is not maintained year-round, releasing the municipality from liability, and confirming that the user accepts responsibility for any winter maintenance, and further that the owner or leasor acknowledges in writing that the emergency services, fire, ambulance, or similar may not be provided to the property using Scenic High Falls Road during the October 15th to May 15th period. The municipality assumes no liability or responsibility for providing emergency services to the property from May 15th to October 15th. And finally, that the land to be severed will not be provided any municipal sewer and water services from the municipality unless the full cost is borne by the owner or leasee. Conditions imposed must be met within 2 years of the date of the notice of decision as required under section 5341 of the Planning Act. As amended, if conditions are not fulfilled as per the prescribed time, the applicant shall be deemed to be refused. The application, sorry.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. We will now move on to item number 7, adjournment, 7.1 adjournment.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Hoffman. Resolved that the meeting be adjourned at 6:42 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. We will now move on to the Public Planning Act, zoning bylaw amendments. So we'll start off, we'll call this meeting to order and note the members present at 6:43 p.m. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. 2.1, approval of the agenda.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that the agenda for the public meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4, announcements. Seeing as there are no announcements, we'll move on to item number 5, new business. 5.1, zoning bylaw amendment to add a residential dwelling as a permitted use at 50 Montreal Avenue.
Thank you. Is it a resolution? No. So Mayor, for you and council, I would note that the notice of amendment was sent out as per the Planning Act. No comments were received from the public or any agency that was given opportunity to make comment. I have a report on behalf of the Fire Chief CBO to share. It is an amendment to the zoning bylaw for a residential dwelling to be permitted in an area that's zoned general industrial. This report does recommend that council approve the request for property located at 50 Montreal Avenue, described as lot 1451, parcel 1298, Mitchell Plan M 168, which would see the addition of a residential dwelling added to those permitted uses under the general industrial. The public meeting received comments is being held tonight. A proposed site plan of the property building to be developed is attached for council's information. The residential unit itself would conform to the residential third density zone standards. So those zone standards that set out setbacks, side yards, front yards, dwelling size, it would all meet the R3 zone requirements. The provincial policy statement, after review by staff, of course, really emphasizes now that council should encourage residential development where possible. Council also has in the Wawa Housing Action Plan and it's in its housing pledge that it will support a wide range of new housing development as a priority, and this does meet that plan and council's pledge. Staff have reviewed the application. We have no objection to the addition of the residential dwelling unit. And the only suggestion of staff, we will work with the owner who we've talked to already and is amenable, that there be some additional sound barrier between the proposed residence and the abutting property that's also zoned general industrial, because even though today the carpentry shop located next door doesn't generate a lot of noise, that property could be used for any of the uses outlined in the general industrial in the future. So to try to prevent noise complaints between a residence and an industrial building, we are requiring that owner add additional sound barrier, which he has agreed to. So it is recommended that the rezoning amendment be approved by council at the regular meeting tonight, seeing as we had no comments opposed.
Perfect. Questions from council? Councillor Hoffman? Councillor Hatfield?
Mayor, could I speak to the person that's going to be building the house? Ask a question to him or just to Maury?
You're more than welcome. I was going to give him an opportunity to speak.
Okay, you own the house on the corner,
Yes,
so you're building behind there?
I'm not building, I'm just gonna renovate the shop and the garage that's there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna split it in half. Half of it will be an apartment and the other part, it'll be an attached garage, home
okay,
attached garage.
okay, I didn't understand that,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councillor Can?
I have no problem with this.
Was there any other comments or questions that you'd like to make?
I'm, just in case you guys had questions, that's why I showed up, but, and I know Kevin didn't have a concern about some of the stuff that's around the yard there, but I'm planning on cleaning it up and getting all that stuff out of there, so, just so you know.
Perfect.
That's it.
Well, I don't have any questions. I think the application was very clear, and I'll just take the time to thank you very much for investing in your property. As Maury said, we do have a housing action plan that really encourages our residents to add accessory dwellings on their property, so thank you. We appreciate that as council as we look to achieve our goals. And Maury does, I will ask Maury to speak to kind of next steps, because there is a period afterwards, so I'll let Maury speak to kind of the nuts and bolts and the procedures that follow council's decision.
So the planning public meeting will end soon, and then on tonight's regular meeting, council will have a bylaw that it will vote on
Yep.
to approve the rezoning amendment. It sounds favorable.
Okay.
Then we will notify you hopefully tomorrow with a notice in writing that it has been approved, but there is a 20-day appeal period that has to pass by before the actual zoning amendment is absolutely approved.
Okay.
You can work with Kevin on whatever building permit and the yard issues if you want to in that time, but it would be at your own risk if you start construction before that 20-day appeal period, your risk.
Yeah.
And then it would be considered approved after 20 days, but in the notice of passing that we must send to you, it will specifically tell you the exact date.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much. So I now, with that said, I now will move on to item number 6, close of meeting, 6.1, close of meeting.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the meeting closed at 6:48 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. We now will move on to our committee of the whole meeting, our third meeting of this evening. And I will call the meeting to order and note the members present at 6:49 p.m. Item number 2, a disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda. May I please have someone make a motion to approve? Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Cannon. All in favor? Carried. Item number 4, adoption of minutes. Committee of the whole meeting, Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. May I have someone make a motion to approve as presented? Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. All in favor? Carried. Item number 5, monthly reports. We have 4 monthly reports listed for us this evening. And as always, I'll ask council to ask questions to our team today regarding the information included in the reports. Councillor Hoffman.
I just have one for Dan. And it's up on Churchill Avenue on the corner. It's where Councillor Hatfield lives. There's every week, it seems, you guys go in and uncover the sewer, the manhole cover, and do something there. We got a problem there?
No. It's, there's certain sewers that we flush around town just to keep them flowing. Or it's one of the regular ones that they flush.
Oh, it's not a major.
No, it's not a problem.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hoffman. Councillor Hatfield, do you have any questions?
I have 2 questions, one for Dan and one for Alex. First of all, Dan, I get a lot of calls, and I was really happy to say to them, we have a lot of new kids working on the roads, and they're not kids, they're young men. And I said, do you understand what it's like to train that many young men and all that stuff? And I said, I think they're doing a great job. And by the time I finished my conversations with everybody, they actually said, yeah. I said, maybe give them a thumbs up or be happy with what they're doing because they're doing the best they can. I said, we haven't had a winter like this in 40 years. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you, if somebody says that I've been spreading the word around, that's what I'm saying. And Alex, the park you're going to be doing this summer?
Yes.
I see you got a builder. Like the rest of the money, it takes that much money to fix it all up, or?
So what I'm gonna present tonight about the playground is the request for quotations that I've received. And in the presentation, I'll tell you guys all about what we can do to make up the difference between the 50,000 we received from Trillium and where the quotations came in.
Okay. I do have one more, Mayor.
Absolutely.
Okay, Maury, I have to understand something, and it could be Maury or Heather. Okay, we're going to be adopting the user fees tonight, but that doesn't mean that the groups can get together with Alex or somebody and talk about exactly what they would like to see, and maybe they can figure something out. Like I know you're going to be meeting with one of the curling team. Yeah. Okay, so I understood that right? Okay, because that's what I said, and I thought, oh, I hope it's right. Anyway, thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hatfield. Councillor Cannon?
I just have 2. Thank you, Mayor. To Dan, good job. It couldn't have been easy with all this snow, and I mean, I drove around town today and it looks pretty good after a big storm like that. So good job to you and your crew. Now we just can't wait for the one to come maybe tomorrow. Did I just jinx it? And Alex, you talked about your project with moving the goose nests and moving that mine equipment. Is it possible for you to inform council where it's going to be moved before it's moved?
Yes, absolutely. So we have adjusted our proposal, and I'm looking forward to another opportunity to come back to council and present some additional ideas that we've had based on the feedback that council gave us at the last meeting. But I was able to do a couple mock-ups about how it would look to have that equipment at the Tourist Information Center. 2 reasons we're proposing the Tourist Information Center. The first one is because there's already some equipment there. So we already have a large piece of quartz with a plaque on it with some gold veins in it from Westdome, as well as a muck truck and a bucket there from the old, I think it's the old lines that went up and down the hill with buckets, but don't quote me on that. And then the second reason is because we feel like there's a large unused space essentially in the turnaround there that would fit all that equipment nicely, and it would be a good linking opportunity to provide people with some interest of stuff at the Tourist Information Center. And hey, if you're interested in this, go downtown and take a look at the drill rig. It makes a good link between A and B in our community. So I've got some visual mock-ups about what that could look like, and we're looking forward to presenting to council in the future based on some of the feedback that we got before we go any further with the project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cannon. All great questions. Certainly, I echo the great efforts, commending the great efforts of our infrastructure team. It's not easy to handle. Is it 50 centimeters of snow?
Oh,
At least.
Felt like it.
I think it was more.
Yeah, it was. We had an awful lot, and we'll all look forward to July when we can reminisce about the snowstorms in March. Heather, I wanted to ask about public input. I'm always really interested in maybe just the number of inquiries, if we received any,
In regards to the budget?
with regards to the budget.
Yes, so we did get one email that we received with more of questions in regards to the housing plan and to the recycling program, which we were able to answer right away. And then we got 3 other emails just for overall feedback and comments that I can share in my next report.
Awesome, I think that's really great, and
Yes.
I wanted to share with you, I had 2 people reach out to me and let me know how good of a job they thought you did, and the readability of the budget was, they mentioned to me, they said it was a great job, so people that watched online, so
Great, thank you.
I wanted to pass that along. So if there's nothing else from council, we'll move on to old business, item number 6. 6.1 HR 2026-04 Capital and Operating Budget Recap.
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council. So I'll just do a quick recap in regards to the budget that we're looking to be approved today. So we did do the public input session that did run until the 13th of March. We did receive, like I was just mentioning, we did receive one that had some questions regarding the recycling and the housing action plan, and then 3 additional ones in regards to one about considering reviewing, reducing, and eliminating services and programs, stating that our water and sewer billing method has increased their yearly billings, and that the increase is recommended as too high based on what we were seeing with 2% COLA, that the increased tax rate is misleading as NPAC assessments increase annually, so an increased tax rate compounds that, and that we should be redirecting our programs from the youth more towards the seniors as our population is aging. Another one we did receive was just in regards to when we were speaking to external boards and just providing a little bit more background as to what that actually means. Because knowing where the money's actually going is really important to them. So for example, at the ADSAB, like if they knew that that was going towards ambulances, then it would have been more beneficial for them at the time when they were reviewing it. So that's an easy fix for the next year anyway. And the third input was just more of a comment in that we're in difficult times with our older infrastructure, higher energy costs, no real industrial base for taxation. So consideration for max efficiency with our labor, MMCC hours, snow, as well as any other cost reduction programs we could do. So overall for the budget that we are looking for the property tax increase at 3.89%, which is equivalent to $220,276. Increasing our capital levy by 1.8%, which is an additional $100,000 for the total of $200,000. This includes the $5.4 million in capital projects and also includes transfers to our reserves from our operating budget of $1.16 million for the 2026 year. And then for the water and sewer budget, to increase the variable rate from 1.07 to 1.16 per cubic meter, as well as for the sewer at 0.57 to 0.59 cubic meter for the sewer. Still maintain our previous year's levels of service, so not to affect those. And then I also provided just a chart with the overall of where we're at with the revenues and the expenditures. So we are looking at recommending that the 2026 capital and operating budget be adopted at the regular meeting tonight. We have shown a 2-year plan with the summaries which aligns with our strategic plan and with council. However, just to note that the 2027 budget is to be reviewed with the next term of council after the November 15th swearing in.
Thank you very much, Heather. Councillor Hoffman, do you have any questions? Thank you. Councillor Hatfield?
I really like how you presented it, and it was nice to read. I got it printed out, which is easier, but it was good, thank you.
Councillor Cannon?
I think it's a really good budget, and I can see why you didn't get very many complaints. People are starting to understand. Once they understand the way it's presented here, it is a lot easier to understand. And I can see where, yes, they'd like to know what the external, what we're paying out and where that pays for and everything. So that's a good thing to add into next year. And I like that you're getting comments.
Me too, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the feedback and comments as well, and I think as we discussed doing another town hall session, with the feedbacks and comments, we can, prepare information to, if one person has these comments, that means other people have those questions as well. So we can direct more of our communications around that feedback and comment. So I think that's wonderful, and I think if the more people that are interacting and communicating with us, I think that shows the level of trust, because people are willing to reach out and spend their time offering their feedback. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. So we'll know exactly what information to provide them. So I think it's great. I think that I'm certainly supportive of the 2026 capital and operating budget that was proposed. We want to maintain our current level of service as a minimum standard. It's certainly, as we move forward and we're attracting more business and we're growing our both of our residential and our industrial tax base. So I think that's great. Is there any other questions? You're only looking for feedback. You're not looking for anything other than our direction, our overall temperature?
Just, the overall, because in the regular meeting, we are looking at the bylaws to go ahead and pass it.
Okay, perfect. So I believe that you've received that. So we'll move on to item 6.2, HR 2026-06, schedule of fees for 2026-2027. And go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So this is, again, it's the bylaw, it's the approval of the 2026 and 2020 schedule fees that we had initially shown you back in February 3rd, with some additions that have been added. So I'm going to point out which additions we did end up going with this year. So for the curling ice in, so you'll notice before it was showing as under review. So we did do a fee increase to the 2025 year to reflect the rising operational costs. And just to note with Councillor Hatfield that directors and staff do have the option to come back to council at any time throughout the year to make these changes, as we are looking at meeting with the user groups as well in the future. Infrastructure services, garbage and landfill services, we did do for additional garbage collection was updated 2026 with $1.50 per cubic yard, and for 2027 with $2 per cubic yard. So staff are working on updating the bylaw and policies around the additional pickup from businesses, and we will be presenting a report to council regarding this, which I believe is today, to start the conversation. Water and services, water and sewer rates were added as per the budget that we had presented. Bulk water, we did add 2 new fees, so it would be for the 10,001 liters to 13,000 liters, and an additional one from 13,001 to 16,000 for both resident and non-residential, as well as adding a non-residential fee by adding a 20% increase from a current residential rate. And then under fire services, we did add a cost for private hydrant inspections for both the 26 and 27 years. Everything else was the same as per presented back on February 3rd.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hoffman? No questions? Councillor Hatfield?
Yeah, Heather, we always discuss the operating budget if we have, do we have to change the filters over at the water treatment plant this summer, the other side? No?
we
So
do
they're
not
all
do-
okay?
Yeah,
Because
that
I-
project's completed.
Okay, because I knew we had to do one and then do the other one. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Councillor Cannon?
I like seeing the numbers instead of under review. Thank you for
We
that.
agree.
I don't like passing a schedule of fees when I don't know the numbers. And I'm glad that the users have a chance to come back at any time and discuss these fees, and then if anything changes, then you'll bring it back to council. So I think it's good.
I also agree. I think that it's good. It's such a difficult time that costs are rising. So it is difficult, but I think it's good that we're reviewing it on an annual basis, and keeping the lines of communication open with our user groups is really important. But I think what I'm hearing from around the table is that council is supportive of the schedule of fees presented. So we will move on to item number 7, new business, 7.1, results of request for quotation to supply accessible playground equipment for the Upper Mission Park. Mr. Patterson, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I've prepared this memo for council regarding the submissions that we received as part of our request for quotations process. So we had a request for quotation pre-prepared because we knew in advance that we were going to get the OTF funding. And then as soon as the OTF funding was announced, we released that request for quotation. We sent it to some specific playground manufacturers that helped us out with the original funding application, as well as posted it generally. And I wrote up top, we received 3 submissions, but we received a final submission a couple minutes before noon when it closed, so I didn't change the wording, but I put that in. So as you can see, we received 4 submissions. The submission that was the lowest price was a company called Blue Imp, and they're based out of Alberta. And when we reviewed their submission, they meet the specific standards under Annex H of the CSA code for playground equipment, which is the accessibility standard. That annex is where all of that information is included. And so we felt that that was substantially the same as the original budget price that we were going for. We got a significant discount as being part of Canoe. So Canoe is the purchasing agency that used to be Local Authority Services and is now bundled throughout Canada. All the municipalities purchase through them, and that earned us a several $1,000 discount that you can see identified in the proposal. So at this time, we're recommending that we go with the Blue Imp proposal with a little bit of a caveat, and that is we know we want to maximize this Trillium funding because we have a project that's 100% funded up to $50,000. So 2 things have to happen if council approves that direction. The first one is I have to have a conversation with Trillium regarding what exactly we can spend those funds on, if they're absolutely precise and it can only be spent on accessible equipment, or if there can be other things that are kind of tangentially related to the park that we could also spend the money on. And then what I will do after that is contact Blue Imp, see if I can get some updated pricing for either some additional components or some additional things to the park, and then I will bring that final quote back to council for approval as per our purchasing policy to enter into agreement with Blue Imp to purchase specific equipment and have it on site for the summertime. So that's what we're looking at there. Typically good news. I was surprised to see it come underneath that much because we had received 3 quotes already before we put the project together. However, 2 of the manufacturers did not provide us with Canoe pricing when they provided us with the original quotes, and then they did provide us with a discount once we had provided them with our membership number and things like that. So my expectation here is if council approves in principle this direction to discuss with Blue Imp, then I will go forward, get some updated pricing, bring that back to the next council meeting for final approval.
Great, thank you very much, Alex. Councillor Hoffman?
Yeah, it was just, so the 50,000, does that cover the building of the park too, or is it strictly equipment?
Strictly equipment.
So that's why I'm sitting there, yeah, 32, you know, it would be nice if you could get some more equipment.
Yes.
Well, no, I like it.
You liked that idea? Councillor Hatfield?
Yeah, I have to get something straight in my head, Alex. Okay, so who's gonna put that together? They're gonna come from Alberta?
No, we're going to put it together.
And it's okay to do that?
Yes.
Okay. I just don't want somebody to come back and say, you know, the township put that together and it broke. So you don't know yet if you can spend some of that money to fix it up? Like the park needs to be fixed up?
Exactly. So what we're going to approach Trillium with is to see if we are required to only purchase accessible playground equipment because that's what we applied for, or whether we could do things like, for example, do some repairs to the guardrail that's at the front of the park and replace that with posts. Some of the site surfacing that we're gonna have to do to see if they'll cover, some of the
Yeah.
lumber costs or things that we were gonna do essentially ourselves in the first place.
When the people came to council to present this, they were looking at also getting the park geared for autism kids, blind kids. Did they still have that in mind?
Yeah, so you can see as part of this proposal, there's 2 sensory panels. And so those sensory panels are specifically geared towards kids like that.
Oh, okay.
So if Trillium comes back to us and they say, no, you can only purchase accessible playground equipment, then what we would look at doing is purchasing an additional sensory panel, potentially putting an additional bay in the swing so you can have more clearance around the handicap swing area, doing some of those sorts of things. So
Okay.
one way or another, we're out ahead here because the quotes came in lower than the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Cannon?
Yeah, my question was about whether you could use the rest of the money to do the framing and the bringing in the sand and everything, so you won't know that till you ask.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I'll wait till you come back to council
Yeah.
then with the answer.
Yeah, because I'll be able to answer that before council approves the purchase.
I love the sensory equipment. That's gonna be really great.
So I think you have your answer, Alex. Council's definitely in favor of you reaching out to Trillium and finding additional information. We're strongly aligned with the cardinal rule of funding. Spend the maximum amount that we've been allocated. So thank you very much. The proposal looks great. The plans look fantastic, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 7.2, CAO report, updated garbage bylaw. Maury, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and this report is regarding repealing and replacing our garbage and waste collection bylaw. That bylaw is dated 1969 with some subsequent amendments. And so the recommendation moving forward in summary is, number one, we need to repeal the existing garbage bylaw and all its amendments and adopt a new bylaw that would be comprehensive, called the bylaw to regulate the collection, set out storage and disposal of garbage and waste materials in municipality Wawa, following a comprehensive consultation with the public and users. Third, that we approve the updated fees as recommended for additional commercial waste collection to be incorporated into our municipal schedule of fees bylaw. And four, that council consider passing a new policy called the Wawa Landfill Non-Resident and Contractor Policy. So as council can see, there's a lot to this bylaw, and there's a lot of components and things that relate. So I will take a little bit of time to highlight my report. For tonight, I'm introducing this topic to get a general sense from council about how they feel for staff to move forward with this, so we can do the public consultation and then come back to council to receive council's more detailed input and suggestions in May after consultation takes place in April. Our current bylaw, of course, is outdated and doesn't address all the matters we need to address today, including things like penalties and what additional collection charges should be. So, it doesn't reflect our practices today, and so the current, some of those things we needed to look at were the current additional collection fee structures. Right now, we're charging on a per minute that was based over 10 years ago when staff went out and when we took care of the garbage, we did a time test, how long did it take us to pick up at X or at Y, and then we assigned a minute charge to do that, and that's how we came up with the additional collection fee. In our waste system, council has set out in the past and in bylaw 69 that every resident and commercial operator in the community does get one pickup per week, free, never free as part of your taxes, but anything additional, all the bylaws and amendments specifically say you will have to pay if you want another collection. So the bylaw establishes limits of 24 cubic feet or 1 cubic yard of garbage, but these aren't enforced or billed properly today, so those things and definitions need to be changed. The schedule fee doesn't reflect a more modern way of assessing what an actual additional pickup costs or takes, and now we want to charge based on volume. So versus the minute by minute charge, when we didn't have a collector that just picked up all the bins today, it was actually done more labor intensive back in the past. So we want to recommend a more modern volume-based pricing model. Several of our commercial operators over time have exceeded the limits without additional charges. So just throw out the example, if every commercial operator had an 8 cubic yard bin, they should all pay the same, but some have 2, 3, 4, or some have larger, some have smaller. So we needed to incorporate a user fee that would reflect the volume and number of bins as well. Matters such as landfill access, contractor use of our landfill, container requirements, how much garbage limits should be on residential commercial users, all those things would be part of a bylaw draft provided in the report, but an updated draft to come to council to consider. So additional commercial pickups, just to focus on that for a minute, would be that the system we have isn't good. The system and staff are accountable. It was allowed to lapse and grow into something over time that we need to fix. So staff have been studying this for some time. And I would share with council, there are 38 businesses. And when I say businesses, that definition of businesses, to be clear, includes institutional and industrial. It's anything but residential. And of those 38 currently receiving additional pickups, 5 get 4 additional pickups. 10 receive 2 additional pickups, but 23 receive only 1 additional pickup. So there's a variation on the number of pickups, additional pickups that businesses have. But of the 38 businesses getting additional pickups, unfortunately, only 7 are being charged. Somewhere in the system, the charging wasn't consistent. So we need to fix that gap in basically on the principle of fairness, but also on cost recovery and enforcement of the system over time. So we will take complete control as we transition to the municipality, being very clear with our contractor that does garbage collection on the municipality's responsibility to bill, to keep track of bins, and to enter in agreements with anyone who wants an additional collection. It's not guaranteed and in the bylaw, that's at the municipality's discretion whether we do additional pickups or not. We have historically, we're not recommending to change that, but we need an agreement with those commercial operators so it's clear on both parties' side when we will be billed, how much will you be billed, how much are you allowed, and how the system will work. So our proposal in the new bylaw sets that out more clearly. And the proposed fee structure, a lot of time went into trying to set up a new proposed fee structure. Historically, a proposed fee structure was recommended to council back in 2018 under a different set of managers. And council rejected an increase to the user fees at that time that was proposed. And so that was 8 years ago now. It's time for us to approach council with a new volume-based or per cubic yard charge. And our fee model, what we would like to recommend, we also appreciate and understand that the impact would be large on those 31 businesses that are paying nothing today. So we are recommending to council to recognize that what these operators would pay if they took to the landfill using tipping fees would be 3, 4, sometimes 10 times larger than what they are paying for additional pickups. We're not trying to suggest we want to charge them what the tipping fees would be, but to ensure it's a graduated system so the businesses and users can adapt we're recommending, subject to input and council's approval, that the additional pickups would be charged under a graduating fee model that would start July 1st. So we'd have time to discuss and meet with every business and get feedback, but on July 1st for the remainder of 2026, the users would be charged $1.50 per cubic yard. In 2027, it would rise to $2, and in 2028, $3. What staff was originally proposing was $3 immediately, because we feel that's what the charge should be. But when we looked at the impact where some businesses would be paying, because they might have only one pickup with a 4 cubic yard bin, about $25 per week for that additional pickup. But some have a number of bins and a number of pickups, so they'll be charged potentially at the $3 mark about $200 per week. So by doing the graduating system, what I'm trying to communicate, it also gives the operators opportunity to reduce their bins, to reduce additional pickups, and look at alternative ways of doing additional collections. So this will give them time to adapt to the new user pay system. Non-resident waste and contractor policy. So on to an issue that we've faced at this municipality over time, and we're trying to make sure our rules around them are more clear to our non-resident users and to our contractors that are local but may be doing jobs outside the municipal boundaries and bringing garbage in. Or those residents that don't live in the community and may be using our landfill, what the charges would be. So it's important to note that the Wawa landfill operates under an environmental compliance approval certificate, an ECA for short, which restricts and very clearly says that our landfill is only to be used by the residents of Wawa and approved surrounding area. In this case, it says unorganized municipality, which would cover our agreement with Hawk Junction. We cannot accept waste according to our ECA from anywhere else. We may have in the past done so, but today we cannot do that without entering into specific agreements with operators and having the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, I think it is, approve or amend our ECA. So to make that clear, I've developed a policy, and I think it's attached for council to review. It establishes clear rules when contractors and non-residents can or cannot bring waste, ensures compliance with our ECA. It also gives direction, more concise direction to our landfill staff, because it's very difficult for them when they're operating at the landfill to really investigate whether someone's local or not local, or where the garbage is coming from. So it will establish more clear rules for that, and allow council to approve any exceptions that it wishes to make regarding non-resident collection, subject to MOE approval. So that process would be a lot more clear. So there is a proposed non-resident waste and contractor policy that would be new, that we would like council to consider adopting along with the new bylaw. The third issue would be just generally about updating our waste garbage bylaw. So there's a lot of amendments. It modernizes our bylaw, adds in the new regulations referencing, but also it updates our definitions, sets out more clearly our garbage residential and commercial container requirements, clearly prohibits certain waste categories which are against forward municipality to bring to our landfill. The Collection Enforcement Provincial Offenses Act now will be more clear in a bylaw and more enforceable, so we can charge appropriately, and formalize commercial collection agreements as well. So some of the things just to highlight for council, the council's input and community input is really important about is the residential limits. I recognize and thank Councillor Ken, and I did have a typo here, but in the residential limits, we are suggesting a maximum of 2 approved containers, so garbage receptacles with secured lids, maximum of 45 pounds each, or a 4 bag limit. In your report, I have 6, but that was an error on my part, so thank you, Councillor Cannon, for knowing that. Our existing bylaw does say 6, so we are proposing to council and the community that on a weekly basis, we reduce from 6 bags to 4 bags, or 2 containers. And in 2 containers, you can usually fit 4 bags easily. I also note that the containers must have secure lids. Our infrastructure director did examine, is there a way that the municipality might buy, for all our residents, a better bear-proof container, a better bird-proof container, but the cost is prohibitive for the number of users we have and the price of containers. So we're not suggesting that we ask council to regulate as a law that all residents have bear-proof containers, because the cost would be very expensive to our residents, but at least they should have secure lids, not using bungee cords. Put a rock on top, but if they have secure lids and are today's standards, at least they would help to deter birds. These limits would stay as is in our existing bylaw, would not include cardboard or paper. So cardboard or paper could be additional as long as it's tied securely, it's outlined in the bylaw and placed beside. So those limits would exclude that someone could also put a bundle of paper or cardboard. For the commercial limits, they would be up to 12 bags or 6 receptacles, garbage bins, or ideally 2 garbage bins with a maximum of 8 cubic yards each. So the maximum would be 16 cubic yards. That's still pretty high. The majority of our commercial businesses don't use bins to that amount. There are some though, so we don't want to penalize them, but that would be the suggested maximum for now. Things are always changing and evolving, and as council knows, we are still, or may not know, but we've talked about it a little bit, our director is still waiting to hear how the new changes to recycling and producers' responsibilities, it's now on the producer's responsibility to collect its own garbage, its own recyclables, and we have yet, as a municipality, to even understand how that's going to impact. So these things aren't static, they may be changed as we go by. So the opportunities to reduce commercial and residential limits in the future are endless as we look to restructure maybe our next refuge collection bylaw, where we could look at a variety of things to help reduce that. But for now, in introducing a new bylaw and with all we're doing, we feel comfortable that these limits are reasonable. We would recommend that the additional collections have more restrictions, that the maximum would be 2 additional pickups per week, that the commercial enterprise must enter into a written agreement with us so we can properly manage the system. They would be billed quarterly, and anyone would be canceled for things such as non-payment of invoices or non-compliance to our bylaw. That's a really high level of all the changes in the garbage bylaw summary, but the financial impact in the municipality is increasing our revenues. I believe we were receiving about $9,700 today in fees for additional pickups, but under our new system, if we go to the $1.50, it would be $37,000 in 1 year. But if we get to the $3 over the next 2.5 years, it would bring an additional $75,000 in user fees, which would go back to the landfill to pay for a future landfill or cover on our old landfill, a variety of costs. It would improve the cost recovery for our waste services, encourage waste reduction and operational efficiencies within the existing businesses, and hopefully reduce a future waste contract through us having better control over the actual number of pickups we do when we start negotiating. In terms of policy under the Municipal Act, we have, council has the authority to authorize bylaws relating to waste management, public health and safety, and nuisance control. And very importantly, consultation, staff is recommending form a very big part of this. There are big changes that are being recommended. And so staff would take targeted consultation with affected commercial businesses, number one. We plan to meet with each commercial enterprise that has an additional pickup, one-on-one. We also would, provide this to the general public to review and comment on over the next month. And a revised bylaw would then come back to council with the public comment summarized at the first meeting in May. So that would still give council May to consider and hopefully June to finally approve something that we recommend, so this system could start July 1st. So basically, in conclusion, it is time to update our bylaw, amalgamate all our past bylaws, and set out some more effective waste management practices. And we look forward to bringing this back to council in the future. Attached is the draft bylaw for council's input, the contractor policy, and I think I attached the 3169 bylaw so council could compare today's to tomorrow's.
Thank you very much, Maury. That was a very comprehensive update. Councillor Hoffman, do you have high level, she's giving us some time to review it and kind of digest the information received. Do you have any high level questions or comments?
Just so the money, did you go to other municipalities or whatever to see what they charge?
Generally, yes. Very, very hard to find a comparator. I could say, to Mayor and Council, the majority of municipalities that we were able to research that are a similar size do not allow any non-resident waste and don't have additional pickups. So very hard to find something that's actually comparative to us. And there's a variety of ways that those who do bill, sometimes they don't bill at all. Sometimes it's by the minute, or sometimes by a system that was established in the past. So it's very hard to cite a comparator, but we are happy to come back and share with council our next report with the summary of those we compared to.
And then the other one, outside the municipality, so like all these people that have camps and cottages outside our boundaries, what about them?
That's, I would assume, an issue, one that councillors present and past have struggled with. Because we know, I believe, as a municipality, when we don't accept, then it's gonna be out in the bush. Sometimes it's left at our gate. That is why, in the recent past, we've put up cameras. Because a lot of times the crew would show up on a Monday morning and there'd be a variety of waste materials right at the gate, and there was not much we could do. So I don't have an answer for council that would answer your concern.
Because like a lot of those people would be local residents that have cottages out on Cabanon or something, but then you'd have a lot of non-residents, so. And then why doesn't the ministry have a garbage, or do they have garbage dumps out in the boonies where? No?
Not here.
I don't know, Dan, if you can add anything more to that, I don't.
I don't know, Counselor.
Okay. I'm good.
Councillor Hatfield?
Just quickly, Maury, I can't get over how much work there's going to be in this, but we are not planning to take over the garbage run, are we?
Not at this time, would be my answer through the mayor. We have an existing contract that, I'd like to share that we're happy with. We're getting excellent service. So that does expire next November 1st, I believe. Although council did enter into a bylaw that says then we can enter into 2 more times for 1 year each, so we can extend. It's not like the contract has to end next November, just to clarify that point. But I believe that in 2027, we committed to council that we will review the whole system. And part of that review should include the cost of what we pay for a contractor versus what would be the cost if the municipality did it. So I think any review should look at the whole thing. We're not looking at that today,
No.
but I would,
Yeah, because
recommend to be looked at in the future when we
one of
go
those
to renew.
trucks alone cost $500,000. That's about it. I just, there's a lot to think about.
Councillor Cannon?
Thank you, Mayor. This was an eye-opener. I bet everybody's gonna say the same thing. I mean, to see that, we knew we always had to look into the garbage. And we have to reduce somewhere. And things have got out of hand in some areas, and other municipalities have cut back on the number of bags and cut back on commercial use, and it's not a free-for-all. So it's good that we're finally looking into this and making the changes, starting to make the changes, and especially for the extra pickups and everything, that the township takes control of that and then starts to collect from, you're not saying that they can't have the extra pickups, but you're gonna pay for it. So I agree with it, and I can't wait for the next report there and see what the public and the businesses say.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cannon. Dan, I had a question for you. What is the life cycle of our waste facility, and how many years do we have left?
With our new current landfill, we have 8 new cells. They were a year and a half per cell. The first cell, we got 2+ years. The second, we're working on the second cell, so we still have 6 more to go after. And I believe it was around 16 years. And we're hoping that after that, we can start moving upwards. So we're hoping at least 20, 25 years.
Okay. And can you just explain for me how accepting waste from non-residents, how that limits or expedites the life cycle of our waste facility?
So if we don't take,
If we do take it?
well, if we do.
If we continue on the current trajectory?
So right now, Creston Engineering does our landfill waste management. They give us a yearly estimate of everything that comes in. When we start taking non-resident materials and stuff like that, we don't really know how much it is. So we can go from year and a half down to a year, then that cuts our life cycle in half. So it's really taking just from the municipality, it brings everything down, right? That's what it does for us.
Okay, so we need to keep a pretty close eye on that gauge.
Yes.
So, we really need to take care of that asset because we know it's very expensive to go through the whole,
Processing.
the whole process to expand our waste facility, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's one of the big things. And I just wanted to really congratulate council for making the decision to ask staff. I think Maureen mentioned, staff should be accountable for this, but I think policies and procedures, this is really council's responsibility. was it at last meeting or the meeting prior to that, we made the decision to defer this item to staff. So I think council, it was really great for us to take this big topic on, especially at this point in our term. I don't think we knew it was this big.
Nope.
We might have left it underneath the rock, but I think it was, I think it's really great. So we need to be accountable as mayor and council, so we'll take that back. And we'll work together as a team to go through all of these. It's as Councillor Hatfield said, it's a lot of work. There's going to be lots of engagement, and hopefully council can support staff in those efforts. But I think Dan really summarized it well. This is a very important asset. We were all here at the beginning of our terms when we were, going through that completion of the waste facility, and especially if we're accepting waste from outside industrial clients, we can get ourselves into trouble in very quick time, and with costs going up everywhere, our residents, and we're hearing from our residents, Heather's hearing that feedback from our customer or from our residents. We can't afford to do that, so we really need to, this is an opportunity to tighten our policies up and really become more efficient. But there might be some growing pains because I didn't I don't think anybody realized. But I think it's an opportunity to align with modern standards. So I think this is really great. Look forward to supporting in any way that we can. And we'll look forward to July, when hopefully this will all be done. So you're looking for council to provide written feedback by a certain date? Is that what I'm?
Yes, thank you, and I can't recall, I think I put in my report, or maybe I didn't, some feedback would be appreciated, definitely from council. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks. So any feedback from council that we integrate into the new bylaw and policies, I can bring that out to the public, because we plan to do the public consultation from Monday, March 30th, I believe, till April 23rd. We have an ad already. So if council could give us any comment before March 30th?
Could I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Dan, we're gonna have a problem with beer cans and bottles and all that. Is anybody at the site saying that they're getting more beer bottles, more cans? I'm just so scared they're gonna wind up in the bush.
Not currently, the landfill attendant has not said anything about it.
Yeah, I would like to, where does it go?
So with the ones at the arena right now, they still go out to Tremblay Flats, to the recycler out there.
Oh, they do. Oh, that's good to hear. Okay, yeah. I just wish we had more because I'm concerned about that. Thank you.
Mayor, may I make a
Absolutely.
So I have been working with Circular Materials for the recycling. They've been contacted 3 times now. There's a lot of work involved. We have to have the 1,630 residents. We have to give them actual physical numbers for them. And then once they have all this stuff put together, they can put it out for tender and then work on it. They still don't know how they're gonna do it, where they're gonna do it, and how they're gonna move the materials. But it's around, all the communities around here are doing the same thing with the same company. So once they do one, it's gonna be kind of like all of us are gonna do it. We'll just have to have an area of where they're gonna pick it up. So it is in the process, but it's gonna be a lengthy one. I've asked for a timeline, but they can't give us one.
I think that's excellent news, Dan. I think just to hear that the conversation has started, I think it's fantastic. So if we can support it in any way, please let us know and we'll do what we can.
Is this recycling cans or recycling everything?
They asked about what we have and what we can take, but they haven't given us a specific about what they're going to recycle yet. We would like to put some recycling bins at our landfill and take cardboard and certain materials. We would just have to look at it first, and we would have to amend our ECA at the landfill to actually take the stuff.
That's exciting.
All great news, all good discussions. Perfect. If there's no other discussions, we will move on. Item number 8, next meeting date, 8.1, Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Item number 9, adjournment, 9.1, close of meeting. May I please have someone make a motion to adjourn? Councillor Kennan, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. All in favor? Carried. We will now move on to our last and final meeting, regular council meeting agenda. We'll give everyone a second to get settled. Seems like everybody's pretty settled. We'll call this meeting to order and note the members present at 7:46 p.m. Item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda. 3.1, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 4, announcements and giving of notice. There are many announcements. There's 10 announcements, so I'll encourage everybody to take a look. Councillor Hatfield, do you have an announcement?
No, I don't. I already said it.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other announcements today? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 5, adoption of minutes, 5.1, regular council meeting, Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, as contained on pages 1 to 7, inclusive of the minute book, be approved.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, correspondence. There are 6 items listed under correspondence. Maury, I'll ask you to highlight anything that you would wish us to pay extra attention to.
Mayor, only one item, and that is just to share with council, and there is a resolution on the agenda further down that we had Ms. Wetzel, Sandra Wetzel, apply to join the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. The committee is recommending the acceptance of Sandra to the committee, and it's been a vacancy for some time. Otherwise, the other correspondence is just supporting resolutions from other municipalities.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll move on to number 7, consent agenda. 7.1, approval of the consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the items listed under the consent agenda, 7.2 to 7.8, be approved as recommended.
Questions, comments?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Item number 8, business arising at a previous meeting, there is none. Item number 9, bylaws, 9.1, first, second, and third reading.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, second by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same any rule to this council to contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 386126 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on the 17th day of March 2026. Bylaw 386226 to authorize the use of alternative voting methods, internet and telephone, for the 26th School Board of Municipal Election. Bylaw number 386326 to adopt the estimates of all sums required and to fix the rate of taxation for the Corporation of the Municipality Wawa, and to further provide for penalty and interest in default of payments thereof for the year 2026. For the establishment, bylaw number 386426 for the establishing of tax ratios for the Corporation of the Municipality Wawa. Bylaw number 386526 to adopt the small scale on-farm business subclass in the industrial property class within the Corporation of Municipality Wawa. Bylaw number 386626 to adopt the schedule of fees for the Corporation of Municipality Wawa for the year 2026. Bylaw number 3867-26 to adopt the Municipality Wawa policy number MM-014, the prevention of bullying and harassment at municipal facilities. And bylaw number 386826 to amend zoning bylaw 2821-15 to add a residential unit as permitted use on property zoned general industrial.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 10, next meeting date, 10.1, Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Item number 11, adjournment. 11.1, close of meeting.
Resolve, moved by Councillor Hoffman, second by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the meeting close at 7:50 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much for everyone's hard work tonight. Have a great evening.